Once in a while, two people will meet and make a special connection. Perhaps they share a hobby or play the same sport or have the same offbeat sense of humor. Yet somehow they feel like they've known each other their entire lives. That's what happens in our next story, with some unexpected and miraculous results. In December of 1997, Ron Barron and his wife Elizabeth left the state of Florida and moved back to Michigan, where they'd both grown up. Elizabeth missed her family, and Ron was finding it difficult to make ends meet.
The jobs down in Florida weren't paying really well, which initially was the reason that we moved up here.
He couldn't find a job. He was looking every day. He was about at his wits' ends with everything.
Anxious to make a fresh start, Ron searched the Help Wanted section of the newspaper. One particular listing caught his eye, an ad for a certification course for nursing assistants.
Something drew me to that ad. I couldn't explain it. I never have thought of myself as someone that would work as a nurse assistant. Just not my thing.
As many times as I asked Ron, why this? It's just not you. He couldn't answer it himself.
Ron interviewed for the special program and was admitted. On orientation day, he met fellow student Roger Mansfield.
How you doing?
What's going on, man?
I'm Ron.
Roger. Ron seemed like a pretty good guy. He was just really easy to get along with, and so we started hanging out and just, studying together and stuff like that.
As they got to know each other, Ron discovered a strange coincidence. Roger had also recently moved back to Michigan from Washington State. He'd only planned to stay for the holidays, but his mother had other ideas.
My mom said that she wanted to have me stay and look for a job, and I was like, well, if I find a job, then I'll stay.
And he wasn't quite sure what he wanted to get into, but he saw this ad for a nursing assistant. And I said, well, Roger, you've never been really interested in the medical field before, but he just seemed really drawn to this ad.
It almost seemed that destiny had brought Ron and Roger together.
Hey, is Ron in?
And soon, they became inseparable.
What is it with you two? You joined at the hip?
Me and Ron really did connect. Everyone was teasing us and saying, you guys look just alike, you guys act just alike.
You're a dynamic duo.
Are you guys brothers? No, we're not.
We went to classes together. We worked together. We were around each other constantly.
You see your mom, you might give her a hug.
And then one day in class, something truly extraordinary happened.
We've talked about all aspects of physical care, but it's important.
My instructor was explaining the importance of nurturing.
Very important aspect. Ron?
I agree with that. I was abandoned when I was 2 years old, and I think I've felt the effects of it.
His mother left him in the house, and he was really undernourished. Then he said that he was adopted, and I was thinking, man, this is exactly what happened to me. Ron, hold up.
Stunned to discover they'd both been adopted, Roger approached Ron during a break to question him more closely.
What were you saying about... He said that his adoption home was in St. Clair Shores, and that's exactly where mine was. I was just like, that's really weird. Do you know your last name?
Biological last name? My parents seemed to think it was Fletcher.
You're not going to believe this, man. My last name was Fletcher.
Get out of here.
I swear to God.
No way.
It was just too hard for me to believe, that I meet this guy that claims that his whole adoption scenario was exactly, the same as mine.
We sort of just looked at each other and shook our heads like there's no way that anything like that could happen. I rushed home and asked my mom if I could see the adoption papers because I wanted to match mine with his.
I just got the chills all over because I thought it was just too much of a coincidence. And sure enough, the information matched almost word for word.
I think it's him.
Ron's information was on there, a brother 2 years older than Roger.
Word for word, that's the same thing.
The two men
Same
compared
thing.
notes. It was now undeniable.
Same thing.
They were brothers.
Ron sat up all night saying, Liz, I found my brother. I have a brother. I really have a brother. I can't believe it. I found my brother.
Ron and Roger became the talk of the school, and no one, including the brothers, could believe the incredible circumstances that had brought them together. What were the odds that these two men would move to a small town in Michigan from opposite ends of the United States, both discover the same ad for a job that neither one had ever thought of pursuing, and end up side by side in a class that would bring up the topic of adoption?
I believe I have more of a chance walking down the street and getting struck by lightning than this happening. I think that it's divine intervention.
I think this is just his special gift to us that nobody can really even fathom, and nobody can take that away from us.
It's absolutely amazing how Ron and Roger found each other, but the story doesn't end with their reunion. They join us now along with Ron's wife and Roger's mother. Hello, everyone.
Hi, Richard.
Ron, I understand that as a result of all the media attention you received, that you and Roger were reunited with another half-brother and a sister.
That is true, Richard. My family just keeps getting bigger.
And on that note, I know that Roger has a special request for our viewers tonight.
I do. We have two other brothers that we have not been able to locate yet, Richard. And one was born in 71. Born in 72.
This is the first time I've heard anyone find anything remotely humorous about the 70s.
Hold on. I can't have him looking at me. It's
He makes him laugh. He can't look at him.
All right, Ron, don't look at your brother. Look directly at me and tell me what your brother's thinking.
Richard, we have two other brothers that we have not been able to find yet. One was born in 71. The other was born in 72.
Come on, you can do it. Take a deep breath.
We have two other brothers that we have not been able to.
Let me help. Roger and Ron have two older brothers, Kenny and Daryl, born in 1971 and 72, and adopted into the same home. If anyone has any information, please contact us at the address provided at the end of the show. You know, guys, if the other two have anything like your sense of humor, it's going to be quite a reunion. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks,
Richard.
We'll be back with more miracles right after this.